Hey folks, you're very, very welcome to my channel. It's Roisin Curie here, and today I'm going to bring you down to the seashore near me where we're going to paint a boat. Well, at least I am. So I've started with an outline done in black ink because I'm concentrating on the things that will move first. Painting in my boat because you never know when it's going to move, the tide's going to drop, and the sea, because these wind conditions are going to change. So I need to get them down as quickly as I can, and that means painting them, drawing them, whatever I need to do, I need to get them down in my book. Next thing is the seawall and the little bollards, and of course the clouds, because that's the other thing that's going to change. So I've got the outlines of these very beautiful clouds, and the next thing I'm going to do is paint them too. And I'm sitting on the rocky shore, which isn't very comfortable. But I have my sketch pocket with me. I've got all my pens. I've got this little box of super granulating colours. I have regular paints as well. So I have water, I have pens, I have everything. Okay, I've painted the clouds, and I've done that by dropping clear water onto the dark bits and then putting some dilute colour in. And I've noticed that if you don't soften off the edges of the clouds, then you get that effect of sunshine. So you can see those little dabs I've done at the tops of the clouds, makes them look fluffy. The next thing to do is to put the line of yellow lichens at the top of the seawall. The colour is quite strong, but I make a mental note to try and pick it up later on in the sketch. And then I paint the seawall itself. I use a mix of burnt umber and Payne's grey. It's got to be done in quite a few layers to really stand out against the sky. I've managed to pick up that yellow in the little life ring that's against the wall, so that balances off the lichens quite a bit. Sure enough, the tide has dropped considerably, and here is my sketch pocket, and here's all the contents that I have with me today. I've got a load of Fude pens. I always bring my white gel pen with me, but I haven't used it today. Oh, I did. I used it for the little dots of froth on the top of the sea. Here's my little collapsible water container, but I haven't used that today. I've used all my water brushes, which have been very, very handy. I've got my magnetic clips there, and I have my paints, and it fits snugly into this little pocket on the side here. So, and I have my little spare ink, should I run out. So I'm happy with my morning. It's been pretty windy, but it's been great, and I've really, really enjoyed it. The next day is just glorious. So by the time it gets to evening and the sun is really out to stay, I decide to go for a cycle back down to the pier. Not because I want to sketch, although I do have my sketch pocket in the front basket of my bike. You can hear it rattling away a little bit there. But because it's just too lovely to stay home, and you never know, I just might get a sketch in. So I thought you might like to see the road near my home in Galway on a beautiful evening in May. Coming into view at the top of the hill is Tyrone House. It's in ruins now, built in 1789. It was the home of the St. George family for, I don't know, maybe 140 years or something like that. It was burnt out in 1920, and it has lain in ruins as a burnt out shell ever since. But I like it partly because it's got a nice facade, the shapes are lovely, but also because it's been the subject of many a sketch for me. You could say I cut my teeth on drawing buildings through Tyrone House, which is kind of cool, I suppose, that it still serves a purpose, even if it's just for me. It also serves a purpose as a home for barn owls and for a load of rooks, and I'm sure lots of other furry creatures. A little further on, I love this particular stretch of road. Sometimes I like to stand against the hedge and draw the cattle curled up in the fields. Whoops! Don't drive off the pier. Now we're getting close to the pier where I was sketching yesterday. The tide is very low, and to be honest, I really like painting a low tide. You really get to scribble away in dark brown ink and throw on your Payne's grey and your burnt umber, and it can make a really nice contrast with the bright light of the water. You can see my spot where I was yesterday, just coming into view here. Can you see the little boat on the bridge on the right? Tide is much lower than it was yesterday when I was sketching. Look at that sunshine. What a glorious evening. There's my little boat from yesterday's sketch. And this is where we all swim when the tide is in. So you can't really tell at the moment because, number one, there's no water. And number two, there are no people. Gosh, look at that. There really is no water. But the nice thing for people with a bad imagination, or I suppose a good imagination, is that when the water goes out completely, you can see that there are no kind of like cold dead hands, you know, waiting to reach up for you when you're swimming along. So that's good. And I'd like to say you can see there's no sharks, but actually I was down here one time and there was some sweet little teenage girls getting into the water, and next thing we saw three, well, they looked like sharks, but they were dogfish, and they were circling, you know, with dorsal fins sticking out of the water and everything. And one of the girls just said, I want to swim with those. And she just got into the water and swam towards them. We couldn't believe it, and she was 13. Anyway, the dogfish weren't having any of it. They did not want to swim with her, and they swam away, slowly, in single file. Anyway, it's so peaceful here this evening. Look at this. Gosh, I'm very lucky. There's always someone here. Mind you, it's nice when there's people here too. So I figured I'd draw something quick, you know, and make a little movie of it, just to add to yesterday's sketch. So let's see how that works. This place is so tranquil. So I'm on to the drawing part. I've forgotten my magnetic clips. So I have to hold my pages down with my fingers. That's not good, is it? Because look, if I let go, it'll just bounce up again. Boom. This is yesterday's. Anyway, let me get on with it and I'll check back in a bit. I've put my clouds in. And now it's time to put in, do you know what I might put in next is the reflection, because that, whoops, look at that, that's going to change pretty quickly. So I'll check back in a few minutes. Okay, I got that reflection and it's already changed a lot. Now, it might not look like much. In fact, it definitely doesn't look like much, but I think I can make it work. Point is, I got it. Oh, it's back again to the way it was. Okay, I better get back to it. Well, I've come to the end of my little sketch, more or less. Got my reflections, got my trees, got my grass. There's a dog behind me who's having a ball thrown for him. He's splashing about in the water. See if I can catch him on camera. There's me, look. Hello, Ro. The girl and her dog are going home. I'm all done. Time for me to pack up as well. Hop on my bike and cycle off into the sunny evening.